I was going to ask if, for you to find that performance, did you do a lot of research? And if so, it must have been a harrowing experience doing that research emotionally.
Yeah, I have one friend that I focused on who is a friend of mine from Central Falls, Rhode Island, who lost a child to murder in the 80s, 1981, I think. And she was 7 years old, and she was taken from her grandmother's backyard, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. She's playing with her friends, and then all of a sudden she was gone. And it was, a well publicized search until they finally found her body. And I spoke to her a lot because I thought to myself, you can give the kind of watered, filtered down version of it that had kind of a glorious ending, or you could be completely realistic. And really, it was like time had stood still. It's like she said, I can be sitting and I could be completely fine. And the next second, I am absolutely right back there. It is a living nightmare that has no end. And so I just tried to pick her brain as to what the everyday was like. But I thought it was really interesting when she said, there is no relief. I think the only thing she said was, I go to church a lot. I light candles. I pray. I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. I have other children left that I love and grandchildren. And that was it.
This film feels very different than the ones that get a lot of mainstream release support these days, and that's very satisfying as well.
Yeah, I mean, people always ask me that about even the television show that I'm doing. They say, what makes it different? And I always say, well, me. My presence makes it different. It is.
Sure.
I think that, sometimes you go on automatic when you watch cinema
Hmm.
and you forget that not everybody. Listen, I loved Brady Bunch when I was growing up. To me, that was the ideal family show until I grew up and realized that does not necessarily represent all families. Now we know better.
Yeah.
We know better, so we have to do better. And yeah, so me and Jennifer Lopez being it, that's what makes it different, you know?
That's great. And I want.
The primary thing we were trying to get across, or we were talking about, was giving a voice to a certain kind of uh, mothers that hadn't been paid attention to. So that was the primary thing, and that's why I was just very grateful that Miss Davis and Miss Lopez agreed to give them that voice. So
Were
I
the
thought it was
names
a good.
biblical? I was curious, like with Eve and the other name sounds like Lilith.
I was influenced by Lilith, Eve. Also, the name Lila has some meaning in Eastern religion about the nature of God on earth. And so, yeah, there's a certain spiritual level that, there's the surface one. And then I think there's another layer about the nature of justice in the world. And, I think it's there for people if they see it.
Sure.
So,
I think that the in terms of what Pat's talking about, the canvas of the movie, like the overall impact of the film, I think for folks who are used to very specific styles or genres, it's confusing because it is fantastical in one aspect because it's a part of her psyche. It's the alter ego. It's this person that does not exist. But coupled with how we painted it, how we portrayed it, like realistically. I mean, in Viola's performance, and Viola and I had many, many discussions about the realism of this state of mind, of this being, of this person, and what she's going through, and her drive to really be authentic, which always excited me because there was going to be a super hyphen natural or a surreal, element to it that was going to be an interesting twist. And I think, it's not 100% popcorn film where she's her character, Lila's committed to killing and destroying everybody, you know what I mean, and then just walking away. I mean, the monkey on one's back, so to speak, with her character at the very end where she's singing that song, it's haunting. It's another thing Viola was like, I really want to make sure that at the end of the story, there's a form of closure, but it's not over. It's like what you just talked about. It just, that pain goes somewhere. You put it somewhere, you deal with it, but it's not like it's gone. So she drives off in the sunset, so to speak, but it's actually kind of a haunting sunset. So,
yeah, absolutely. And there's a responsibility when telling stories like this to be authentic to the victim experience and to the victim's family experience, and we don't really see that very often in film. So it's the scenes where you're in the hospital, the scenes where you're grappling with the memories and stuff. Often we don't see that in movies. We see the rage and the sort of the kind of Charles Bronson approach. With a woman's story, you really had to add nuances, or else it would just feel like a dress song.
Well,
Shoot 'em up.
yeah, because Charles Bronson can get a gun and just shoot people, and people are like, yeah, that's right. When a woman does it, it's like, oh, yeah, but can't you be a little nice about it, And so, I mean, there is an unapologetic aspect of it. And what I liked about it, if I can be so bold to say, is it wasn't like after every killing she explored any kind of regret.
Right.
That the exploration really was, how can I get over my pain? Not how can I get over the fact that I killed people and I kind of like that with girls in it.
Sure.
I do. There's something very liberating about it at the end of the day.